Welcome to another Walter Football video. I'm Charlie Campbell, Senior Draft Analyst. Before we get rolling, I suggest you click into the settings, speed it up to 1.25 or 1.5. All right, here we are. It's draft day finally here. I'm so excited. It feels like Christmas morning. It's going to be an awesome weekend. As you guys know, if you've been following Walter Football, I've been the most accurate media member in the NFL for mock drafts with the most picks correct over the last 6 years and led the league in 2017, 2019, and 2022. I rely on people that know more than I do. That's the secret to my success. I rely on NFL teams. I don't listen to agents, don't listen to the media very much at all. Just listen to team guys that I'm blessed are really good to me and friends of mine, and so that's my whole formula that I lean on. So that's how I come up with my mocks. This is the final one. Unless I get some team info out of nowhere later today that I'm gonna add in, this is probably it, and I don't anticipate that happening because all the team guys are at home during the day. They don't show up until late afternoon, a few hours before the draft starts. So all their meetings are done, everything's done. They're relaxing some during the day, trying to get in some family time potentially. And GMs are making calls, of course, and their assistants making calls about trades and gauging what it would take to move down, move up, all that kind of stuff. So anyways, let's get into this final mock. This is the toughest year I've had to predict over the past 10 years. It's been really hard because this draft class just does not have the consensus that some other draft classes have had. Like, for example, 2 years ago, you knew Jamar Chase, Kyle Pitts, Penny Sewell, Jalen Waddle, you knew those guys were locks in that middle of the top 10 after the quarterbacks were off the board. So that year was really easy in that regard. I think I got the first 8 picks in a row. Last year I had a clearer idea. I had the first 11 picks right in a row. This year I do not anticipate doing as well, but whatever, it's going to be fun. This is my best shot at it for this year. So let's get into it. First overall pick, Carolina, Bryce Young. We all know that's the pick there. Second overall, I have Houston taking Will Anderson, the edge rusher from Alabama. Sounds like they would prefer to go defense as opposed to offense. And a quarterback, from talking to people at other teams, Houston's been a mystery, but the prevailing sound I'm getting is Will Anderson and potentially trading up from 12 for Will Levis. That Will Levis fits their kind of toughness, competitiveness that they look for in a quarterback. And Will Anderson's a safe pick, building block for that defense. Third overall, I have the Cardinals taking Paris Johnson, left tackle from Ohio State. I've heard Arizona really likes him. They got to improve the offensive line for Kyler Murray. Johnson is a premium position and plays premium position and has huge upside to be a really good NFL left tackle. So I could see the Cardinals doing that if they're forced to stick and pick at 3. And of course, I don't project trades. I've heard, Arizona wants to move down badly. I've heard Tennessee could be interested in moving up for C.J. Stroud. All kinds of rumors there, so who knows what's actually accurate when it comes to this close to being the draft. Fourth overall, I have the Colts taking C.J. Stroud. Obviously, they need a franchise quarterback. I think Stroud would be their pick at 4 if he gets there. If he's off the board, then I think they'd take Anthony Richardson. Fifth overall, I have the Seahawks taking Jalen Carter. Give them a big, disruptive, dominant defensive tackle when he's playing right and focused. Pete Carroll's had a lot of success working with guys that have had some off-the-field issues, guys like Frank Clark, Bruce Irvin, Michael Bennett, getting them in and getting them up in Washington, away from kind of some problem areas. Like for Carter, Washington's a long way from Georgia, so that could be a really good fit for him to help him pan out in the NFL. Sixth overall, I have the Lions taking Devon Witherspoon, cornerback from Illinois. Obviously, Detroit needs more cornerback help. Only Cam Sutton is signed beyond this season, but this gives them a really talented trio with Cam Sutton and Emmanuel Mosley and Witherspoon. Tough, physical corners that can really knock guys' heads off and are good in coverage. And then that also gives them flexibility to play C.J. Gardner-Johnson at safety, or they can move him in the slot, move guys around, gives them that kind of versatile depth as well. So I like that pick for the Lions, and Witherspoon's a great culture fit there in Detroit. 7th overall, the Raiders taking Christian Gonzalez, cornerback from Oregon. Give them a corner that can really cover, loose hips, fluid mover. They badly need cornerback help, and in that division with Pat Mahomes and Justin Herbert, I could see that cornerback need kind of winning out over. There's plenty of other needs and directions they could go, but I think cornerback's kind of their biggest emergency on the roster right now. 8th overall, I have the Falcons taking Bijan Robinson, running back from Texas. Feel really good about this pick. I think Atlanta's going to do this all day long. I think he would be a stud in that offense. They have some offensive line talent. You pair him with Kyle Pitts and Drake London, that is a nightmare for NFL safeties. If they, sorry, I had sources texting me there. I got to silence that. If you pair Bijan with those guys, that is just a nightmare defensively, because if the safeties come up to defend Bijan, then you can attack them over the top with Pitts and Drake London if they're playing their safeties back, and then Bijan's going to just destroy a light box. So I love that pick for Atlanta. Could really help Desmond Ridder to make big strides in year 2. 9th overall, I have the Bears taking Tyree Wilson, defensive end from Texas Tech. He has a very concerning issue with the foot. I just heard recently, you can check the hot press that I did today, some teams have pulled him off their board and flunked him medically. I had a director tell me his foot, the x-ray looking at it, looks like Frankenstein mangled. They think he could need another procedure. And so Tyree Wilson, don't be surprised if he slides a little. And the Bears definitely need defensive line help. They need a difference maker up front, so I think they might be willing to take the chance, roll the dice at 9, that Tyree Wilson, once he gets healthy, will be a big-time player for them. 10th overall, I have the Eagles taking Nolan Smith, edge rusher from Georgia. I think the Eagles want to improve the pass rush. They need more youth up front. Nolan Smith has crazy speed off the edge. I think that's a great fit for him. 11th overall, I have the Titans taking Anthony Richardson, quarterback from Florida. That's a great landing spot for Richardson because he can sit behind Ryan Tannehill, learn. He needs a lot of development, but the skill set is off the charts. And then when you pair him with Derrick Henry, that could be a mean rushing attack come 2024 when he's ready to go. So I like that pick for Tennessee. 12th overall, I have the Texans taking Will Levis, quarterback from Kentucky, as we hit on before. He kind of fits the mentality they want out of the quarterback, but obviously the tape wasn't great last year, so I'm not as convinced he's going to go as high as some of the rumors suggest. 13th overall, I have the Packers taking Dalton Kincaid, tight end from Utah. Give them a weapon for Jordan Love, a guy that can uncover and get open, guy that they can isolate in man-to-man coverage and make some plays and give Love an easy throw, move those chains, and help him to really have some success and a go-to guy in his first year as a starter. 14th overall, I have the Patriots taking Peter Skoronski, left tackle / guard from Northwestern. I think this is a Patriot kind of pick because he's smart, versatile, tough. They've been willing to deal with undersized left tackles. You think of Isaiah Wynn, who's even smaller than Skoronski, short-armed guy. They're willing to do it. So I could, with their need at tackle, I could definitely see Skoronski being a player that would make sense for them. But I always bank on getting the Patriots pick wrong because they're so hard to predict, like Cole Strange last year, great example. So who knows? It's probably not going to be Skoronski just because that's what I predicted. 15th overall, I have the Jets taking Darnell Wright, offensive tackle from Tennessee. They need a bookend tackle to go with Mekhi Becton, and then if Mekhi Becton gets injured again or flames out, then they can put Dwayne Brown in there and have Darnell Wright on the other side. But this improves the protection for Aaron Rodgers and will help the Jets to run the ball. 16th overall, I have the Washington Commanders. Still feels weird to me to say that. Taking Emmanuel Forbes, cornerback from Mississippi State. They badly need cornerback help. Forbes is a nice fit for the Jack Del Rio scheme. If he was bigger, he might go higher, but weighing in the 160s is really scary for NFL teams. But I think Washington could be okay with him. If you think about Marty Herney and Ron Rivera, they drafted a similar corner in Dante Jackson at Carolina. Smaller guy, fast, ball skills. So I definitely could see where they would be okay working with Forbes. 17th overall, I have the Steelers taking Broderick Jones, left tackle from Georgia. Give them a tackle to help protect Kenny Pickett. 18th overall, I have the Lions taking Jahmyr Gibbs, running back from Alabama. And I don't know if you guys do bet on the draft, but this is one that you could get great odds, and I would recommend if you like to do that kind of thing. I think Gibbs is going to be a dynamic runner for Detroit. That offense and the great play calling they have with Ben Johnson, he's going to be such a dynamic weapon with how fast he is as a runner and dangerous receiver. He's like Alvin Kamara, except tougher and stronger runner between the tackles, and also he's an amazing kick returner. So I think you pair him with David Montgomery, potentially trade DeAndre Swift during the draft. As I reported in the hot press, some teams have called about Swift after they signed Montgomery. He can't stay healthy. They can't rely on him, and Gibbs gives them a speed weapon that's just going to make their offense more potent. 19th overall, I have the Bucs taking Anton Harrison, left tackle from Oklahoma. Let them pair him with Tristan Wirfs. One of the things I like about that pick is Harrison has a lot of experience playing left tackle, so they could potentially keep Wirfs on the right side. If it's not broken, don't try and fix it. He's been excellent there for them. So you plug in a left tackle and just keep the train going there with two talented young offensive tackles. And then Harrison's on a cheap 5-year contract. You can pay Wirfs, and salary cap wise, you don't have too much money invested in your tackles. If they had held on to Donovan Smith, that would have been more of a concern. But I think Harrison's a good fit there for Tampa Bay. 20th overall, I have Seattle taking Zay Flowers, wide receiver from Boston College. He's a Tyler Lockett clone. I could definitely see him being a player that Seattle wants to pair with Lockett and DK Metcalf, and then in a few years when Lockett ages out, they have their replacement there. 21st overall, I have the Chargers taking Jackson Smith-Njigba. I've heard the Chargers are looking at receiver heavily along with tight end, possibly defensive end. But of the way the mocks kind of panned out, I think Smith-Njigba makes a lot of sense there for the Chargers. He can play in the slot. He's really dynamic in the slot, but can also play outside and give them a talented trio immediately with Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. 22nd overall, I have the Ravens taking Joey Porter Jr., cornerback from Penn State. Give them a big physical corner to go with Marlon Humphrey. And Baltimore has needed more cornerback talent. I think they're sitting at a good part of the draft to get a good player there. 24th overall, I have the Jaguars taking Deonte Banks, cornerback from Maryland. They could use another corner to pair with Tyson Campbell. I think Banks is a good fit. 25th overall, I have the Giants taking Jordan Addison, speed receiver out of USC. Give the Giants a guy that can get open, runs great routes, really can make some things happen after the catch, and gives Daniel Jones a nice weapon. 26th overall, I have the Cowboys taking Michael Mayer, tight end from Notre Dame. Give them a replacement for Dalton Schultz and another weapon for Dak Prescott. 27th overall, I have the Bills taking Osiris Torrance, guard from Florida. Give them a big-bodied guard that can protect Josh Allen and open holes in the ground game. I think Buffalo would like to hit the trenches in this draft. 28th overall, I have the Bengals taking Sam Laporta, tight end from Iowa. I know the Bengals are interested in him. I know they like Michael Mayer and Emmanuel Forbes, but I don't have those guys getting to pick 28, so they'd have to move up if they wanted them. But I know they like Laporta. He's a really good player, sleeper in this draft class. He's going to be an excellent pro. I know some teams that like him more than Michael Mayer, and I think he'd be a really good weapon there for Joe Burrow. And also, he's a pretty solid run blocker, so he'll help them in both phases. 29th overall, I have the Saints taking Miles Murphy, defensive end from Clemson. Give them a replacement for Marcus Davenport. They could use more edge rush. It hasn't been as good since Trey Hendrickson left. Murphy would definitely help that. 30th overall, I have Lucas Van Ness going to the Eagles. this was a tough one for me. I wanted to have Van Ness going earlier, but I just didn't feel good about any of the fits. I know the Eagles like him, and he's kind of a guy that a lot of teams like but don't love, but he's versatile, he's tough, he has upside, worked out well. So if he slid in the draft, I could definitely see the Eagles targeting him. 31st overall, I have the Chiefs taking Will McDonald, defensive end from Iowa State. I've heard the Chiefs really like Anton Harrison and are interested in trading up for him, but I don't project trades. It's just too impossible to predict, and you just never know what teams really truly want to move down and up, and what's rumor and kind of falsehood this close to the draft. But at any rate, they could use another pass rusher. Will McDonald is a dynamic quarterback hunter. Man, he is fast off the edge. He can bend. He's athletic. They tried trading for Brian Burns last year, and that didn't happen. McDonald has similar speed and athletic ability off the edge. He had to get bigger and stronger, but he's made progress there since the end of last season and really shown the ability to put on weight. So he has big upside. I think that would be a really nice pick for the Chiefs. All right, let's get into some of the teams after the first round. Let's see, we have the Rams up. I have them taking Dwan Jones at pick 36, give them some offensive line help. That offensive line was atrocious last year for the Rams. 51st overall, I have Miami taking DeMarvion Overshown, linebacker from Texas. Miami could use more linebacker talent. They've shown interest in Overshown. He'd make sense for them. Then I have Denver taking Luke Musgrave, tight end from Oregon State. Give them a potential weapon for Russell Wilson. I have Cleveland taking Isaiah Foskey, defensive end from Notre Dame. Give them a replacement for Jadeveon Clowney. And then hold up, I forgot the 49ers. Let me pull up that pick real quick. Sorry about that, guys. That was oversight on my part. I'm working on very little sleep, but I love it, man. The draft is so much fun. So anyways, the 49ers, where are you? Trying to remember who I had, and it's not coming to me. But at any rate, let's look here. Yep. Third round. Sorry, I went to the second round. Third round, I have them taking Matt Landers, a wide receiver from Arkansas, big size speed guy. I also have them taking Zach Harrison, a defensive end from Ohio State, who has kind of a Carlos Dunlap skill set, but is just extremely inconsistent and just not reliable, consistent producer. So that's the final mock for 2023. It has been an awesome year. I really love all of you guys. I appreciate you guys so much for supporting us, helping us live this dream of covering the draft for all of you. I tell you, when I get information, I'm so excited to pass it along to the readers and viewers, because I remember those days before I was doing this job, how excited I would get for inside information and not just the run-of-the-mill crap you see on the TV stations talking about the same players over and over and not really talking to team people. So that's what I strive to do, get team info, put together an accurate mock as much as possible for you readers, and I love all you guys, and thank you so much. So please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff, and we'll be back with you guys soon. Enjoy the draft. It's going to be awesome.